Hey you guys, thank you for watching another episode of Amor Conversation with me, Amor here. Today I have producer Amadeus, but before we get into that conversation, make sure you are subscribed, turning on your post notifications and commenting down below. And the conversation doesn't have to end there. You can head over to my Twitter at AmorTV_. Use the hashtag AmorConversation and ask a question or suggest somebody you would like to see me have a conversation with. So let's go ahead and get right on it.
It's a good day, good vibes. It's a good day, good vibes. I thank God I'm alive. It's a good day, good vibes.
How you doing today?
I'm tired.
You give me vibes like you're always in a great mood.
Yeah, it's who I am. I feel like, why not be? You know, there's a million things we can complain about.
Yeah.
There's a million things that probably didn't go right for me or you today. But why stay in that moment? Why stay in that mood? We're here. You look great. I'm here. You're making me look great. You know.
You look great. You came in clean.
Oh,
Got your bag.
you know. But I'm here. But again, you know, I'm a little tired.
Yeah.
Fresh off a flight late last night from Vegas from my residency out there.
Oh wow. Tell me about that.
It was amazing. So I fly out every Friday.
Okay.
Fly back home every Monday. And basically I'm the drummer there, and I have a residency, which is really unique. Normally artists or producers have residencies, but they gave me one as a musician, which is like historic.
So you play for...
No, I just play alongside the DJ for an hour before whatever artist performs that night.
Wow, that's different. So where is your residency at in Vegas?
It's at Club Dre's. Dre's is the nightclub. It's the #1 hip hop nightclub in Vegas, and they have residencies like Chris Brown, Migos, Fabulous, Trey Songz,
Oh, so you just
T.I., you know, man, Big Sean. So it's like every Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, there's a different artist performing. So I get on like right before them alongside an amazing DJ from the Bay Area, DJ Friends, and we just, you know, just create a dope vibe and a dope mood for an hour and a half, and then next thing you know, when we're done, you know, Chris Brown or Trey Songz and 2 Chainz just.
So you're there the entire night?
Oh yeah, I'm definitely. After I do what I do, I just sit back and enjoy the moment. You know what I mean?
Wow.
And it's small, it's intimate.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's not like you're in like Madison Square Garden or Barclays Center. Like it's a club, so it's just very intimate. It's a dope vibe.
Well, I appreciate you coming here to have this conversation.
Listen.
It sounds tiring. I would be taking a nap. I'm like, nah,
man. You know, again, you know, I'm not sure if they know. I found her. Like, she's amazing at what she does. She interviewed a great friend and brother of mine, a photographer extraordinaire, calligraphist.
Yeah.
And I saw that and loved what she was doing and loved what she brought to, you know, this era in regards to interviewing. And I reached out to her. You know what I'm saying? So.
And I saw. I was like, oh wow, he's dope. I had to have him in. So explain to my audience what you do.
I am a musician.
Your title too. Yeah.
Yes, I'm a musician, a music lover, record producer, blessed to produce for over 80 artists, from Chris Brown to Trey Songz to J-Lo to French Montana to Lil Wayne. Produced and scored the ESPN First Take theme song that plays every single day. A lot of the scoring and a lot of the Sports Center. You know, you see LeBron James dunk on somebody, they have like bed music under there, and I create a lot of that. So that's the producer side. Musician side, I tour with Trey Songz as his music director and tour drummer. I'm sure we'll get into music directing and what that is later on. And again, as I mentioned, the residency at Dre's, but also we have a education platform that we've created, the Music 101 College Tour with my partner Mike Daniel. So just multitasking and doing a lot of different things, and very important in this business to just do as much as you can do. We have more than one gift, more than one talent. So, you know, I'm a big believer of just tapping into each and every single one of those things, figuring out the balance and making it happen. So I had to be here today. It's an honor. I'm humbled and grateful to be here with you.
Humbled. Like,
she's amazing.
Stop. Did you just hear his resume?
No. She's amazing. And you're going to see her on one of these Music 101 College Tour panels. So coming to a school near you.
I just got booked, you guys. Yeah.
You know what? You know, I'm very random. I'm a very in the moment thing. Let me tell you something crazy and then we'll move forward.
Please tell me. I live for this. Is the conversation.
My partner reached out to me last week and said, yo, because we know they do panels, we events here where we're shooting. I don't want to say where we're shooting. I don't want to people showing up.
I understand.
But they do things here in this building, and he always wanted for us to do a panel here. So.
What's up?
She's the answer.
I'm your girl.
You know what I'm saying? So look forward to this Music 101 Amor TV
Uh-huh.
collabo, Music 101 College Talk panel here. Not gonna tell you where we're at right now, but
Here.
just know we up to something.
Yes, follow us so we can be updated.
Yes,
When
yes.
do you know the dates?
We just did Bronx Community College
Mm-hmm.
2 weeks ago, and we did Stony Brook University 3 weeks ago. So I know we're finalizing some of the next stops and stuff like that. But we don't only just do it at schools.
Yeah.
So we've done a few panels at the Microsoft store on Fifth Avenue. We've done some panels at Wicks. So it doesn't have to be at your college. Like I said, that's why I want to create one where we do here at this location and make it a dope event.
There we go.
Yeah. So look forward to that.
So how did you get your start in the music industry?
Man, over 17 years ago.
That's a long time.
I started very, very young. I was in high school,
Yeah.
Connell Hayes. But before that, just the musician side of it. My parents were music lovers. We had this thing called Clean Up Saturdays. on the
Oh,
weekends.
Saturday, not Sunday?
Not Saturday. Sundays was in church all day.
Okay.
All day. So, it started with that, and each Saturday my mom and dad would rotate on who plays what.
Uh-huh.
So, one day my mom's African
Oh, so they
Band
was
Pod
doing the playlist
oh,
before
man.
the playlist.
Oh yeah, no iPods,
Uh-huh.
no Apple Music, just straight like CDs. As a matter of fact, I got to take it back because it was actually cassette tapes. Yeah,
So
so
you
that
had
was
to listen
Mhm.
all the way through and then flip the tape.
yes.
All right.
So the cassette tapes and the vinyl.
Nuh-uh.
Yeah.
How?
okay.
Nuh-uh. You don't have no.
Listen now, the Marvin Gaye and the OJs and the Bee Gees that my dad played was on vinyl,
Wow.
which I still have today because as a producer, I turned around and sampled those records. So the records that I've sampled was from my father's collection. So that was that was me falling in love with music. Obviously, that was their era, so I fell in love with hip hop. Challenging for me because my parents were both very spiritual, churchgoers.
No secular music.
No. So I had to
But on
hide.
Saturdays.
But no, well, their secular music and our secular music are two different type of musics.
Yeah.
So what I liked, they didn't approve of, and I get it. Profanity, the language, things that was going on, things that were being said. They was like, this is not of God. So that was my start. Kind of snuck and listened to hip hop every night in my Walkman. They don't know about that.
What color
In my
was it?
Walkman, I had it started with an A. Is that Iowa?
Don't
Yes.
give me AIWA?
AWAI.
Okay, I remember the
You remember that?
logo. But I ain't have no
Iowa
Walkman. I just look at
Listen, the Iowa joint was popping. You know how you have the different brands? No, Iowa was the Apple of Walkmans back then.
And then you had the wire headphones.
Oh yeah, little cushion, a little wire joint. So if you do it like that, you twist it, the whole joint snaps in half. Yeah. So I kept that under my bed and under my
What
pillow.
were you
excuse me.
listening to?
Oh man, like Brand Nubian and Tribe Called Quest.
Yeah.
It was so many, man. Grand Puba, Das Effects.
How are you getting this music when?
All right, so listen. What had happened was, I always had that working spirit. So I used to pack bags across the street at the supermarket.
Okay.
So wherever I can get money in a positive way, I did that. So I used to be able to buy the bootleg tapes. It was $4.
The
So,
mixtape.
you know what I'm saying?
The real
So,
mixtape.
I'm talking about like DJ Doo-Wop. I'm talking about like LA Love. I'm talking about, Ron G. You know what I'm saying? Like before the Clues, before the Flexes, before, you know what I'm saying?
So where did give me when did it happen that it started taking off for you? When you knew that this could be a career and you
Right.
knew the direction that you wanted to go in
Right.
in the music industry.
Great question. Because I started thinking I was going to be an artist. And my name was A Boogie. I thought it was hot.
In my bag now, in my bag now.
And now, see,
Yeah.
that's why it's important as an artist,
Yeah.
a writer, producer, that you be who you are. Like,
Yeah.
do you, man. So oftentimes we worry about the opinions of others that makes us or force us to change directions in regards to the direction we really want to move in, and then we change, and then later on, man, it's like, yo, I could have kept that name, but everybody laughed at me when I said A Boogie. And then, fast forward now, we have A Boogie with the hoodie, and he's popping, and he's super dope, and he's like from 10 minutes from where I used to grow up in the Bronx.
Really?
So it's like,
Wow, that's a
yeah,
coincidence.
and he's making it. So, man,
Yeah.
I should have kept that name.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. But, so that's what it started. And then I had a friend that was in the business by the name of Buck Wiles, a producer as well, very successful, one of the original Bad Boy HitMan producers. And he was like, man, why don't you be like behind the scenes? Because if you don't sell 1 million or more records, you're not gonna really see that money, and this and that. And I was like, And I was already playing drums in school, so I already had that love for beats and patterns, and so I just attempted it. And I kind of like, shadowed him for a little bit, and went to the studio. I met Busta Rhymes, and he was playing beats for Busta Rhymes, and I met Missy, and he was playing beats for Missy, and and I'm like listening and watching this whole process of how producers work with artists, and I'm sitting there like little by little falling in love with this process as a producer. And then I remember like going home that night and was like, this is it. This is it. And then, fast forward, just making beats, and thinking it was hot, and they really weren't. People were telling me they weren't hot, but except for my friends. And I just kind of fell in love with it, became passionate about it, and kept doing it, and started like meeting people and connecting and exchanging contacts. And
how is that networking as the producer? What were some of the things that you were going for? You were looking, because it's like it wasn't the internet, wasn't that popping.
Yes.
So how were you finding out about these events, and how were you getting yourself out there and promoting what you do?
So I had a Motorola two-way pager, which was like
this is the nostalgia episode.
Like where if you didn't have one of those, we was not in the music industry. Okay. Like everyone that was in the music industry had one of those.
A Motorola two-way
yes.
pager. I've heard that in a
yes,
song.
You have. Yes,
Motorola
you have. Two-way pager.
What song is that?
No,
it's okay. Wait, this is focused.
But so with that device, right, I can put it next to yours, back to back, and I could beam you my contact and vice versa. So we would hold one button, and there was like something that looked kind of like this, and we would put it together, and in 2 seconds you would have all of my contact information. I would have all of yours. Wow. So I would, walk through. Oh man. I would walk through them and say, what's up, my name is Amadeus, I'm a producer, let's exchange contacts. Yeah. And back then it was so fun to do, because it was go, it was so fun to do that I've never met anyone that was like, nah, man. So I just walked around the room, in industry events, listening events, anything like that, and just exchange contact info. And next day we'll introduce myself. We met last night at this event. I'm a producer, would love to take a meeting with you, because meetings were like really big back then. Yeah. Meetings, it wasn't really sending CDs. It was like, yo, come meet me at the office. Yeah. So I did a lot of those, and that's kind of like where the ball.
So you just started and said, hey, I'm a producer. Before you even like produced for artists.
No artists under my belt, no nothing, just I'm a producer. And you had, A&Rs at the time that would take meetings, and some that didn't.
It seems so easy, but looking back, like, because I didn't come up in that time, it seems like it would be hard to have face-to-face contact. It seems like it's easier now with social media.
Oh man, right now, everything is at your fingertips.
But
that's why
it's so hard for some people though.
Because it's hard if you make it hard. It's hard if you don't want it. It's hard if you don't.
If you don't want it.
If you don't put the work in, like for example, like I saw you doing an amazing interview. You know what I'm saying? And I'm me. I'm who I am. And I'm not saying that to brag. I'm just saying I've accomplished what I've accomplished. But I understand the hustle and what it takes to get to where you want to be still. So I saw that interview. I didn't go pass it on to my partner or for someone else to do, or an assistant or an intern. I sat there, looked you up online, did my research, and I personally sent you an email. People feel like sometimes they're too big for that. You understand? It's like, nah, I'm not too big for anything. It's like, I love what you're doing. I love the TV show. I love the platform. So I want to reach out to see what we can do.
Thank you.
Some accept the call, some don't. And I'm grateful that you did. So I still have that same mentality when it comes to sending out music. Yeah. Me working with all the artists that I work with, there's still a long list of artists that I haven't connected with that may not even know who I am. So you
work with so many people. But this is like everyone.
But there's so many other producers. There's so many people that do what I do that may have a bigger name or may have bigger songs. You know what I'm saying? And that's the thing where in life and with any area in the business, you got to keep going no matter what. You got to apply yourself, because there's a lot of producers that may have a bigger name where you mention their name and be like, oh yeah, they did such and such, that are no longer here. So for me to be on this 17-year journey, still relevant, like last year was one of the most successful years music for me, period.
You were producing for Chris Brown.
Yeah, we my production team, Platinum Boy Music, we produced 9 songs on that album. Heartbreak on the Full Moon, 9.
What's crazy is 9 songs can be an album now.
Right.
And he put out way more than that.
But that's and he's Chris. This is what I'm saying. He's Chris Brown. So the average consumer or fan or artist are saying, man, if I was Chris Brown, like I wouldn't be working like that. But when you love it, you just want to do it. You just want to create. So I'm sure his thought process was, I have so much music.
Yeah, he did it a lot differently too when he put it out there.
I have so much music. Why hold on to the music? Why not give my fans 54 songs?
Yeah,
you know what
I'm
I'm
still
saying?
going through that.
Right.
I'm trying to listen because I get stuck on some songs and
Yes.
I'm just like, okay, let me move on, and I get reintroduced to new music on the same album. That's crazy.
That's the point. And think about like something that we said earlier, where it's like there's no rules. Who said it has to be 10 songs?
Who said? The record label. The
But
guy
it's-
that holds the money.
Right. But now at that level,
Mhm.
it's like, man, I'm Chris Brown. And not saying that that's what his approach was, but I'm Chris Brown. I've created my fan base. I'm who I am. This is what I want to do. Let's figure out a way to make it work.
What is the producer and artist relationship like?
Very important.
What is that?
Very important. I feel it's everything.
Yeah.
I feel it's everything. Because sometimes people get caught up in like talent and how dope you are and think that like that's the winning ticket. To be dope and sitting home with all your beats in your computer, not being on any album. So it's about, like you said, creating that relationship, creating that work relationship, but also creating a personal. You know, I'm the type of dude where I'm like, yo, everything cool, like your family's good, like, you know, how was the week, you know, happy birthday, you know what I'm saying? Like, and that kind of, people connect with that, and people feel, you know, me being genuine and being honest and real, like, you know, and that's the best way to be, and it creates a relationship to the point where it's anything you do, you call me. And that's one of the relationships that I have with CB, where it's like, we've created that personal, but we've created the music, and there's a chemistry. And I know what he loves, and mind you, we don't really key in on one particular style or sound. Like we just create music. So I've sent Chris trap beats, I've sent Chris real R&B feel good, EDM, you know what I'm saying, like up-tempo, mids, ballads, because you just never know what you're feeling at the moment. Music is a feeling.
So you're not a genre producer, because there's some producers you know and they do a specific sound.
No.
How do you feel? I feel like right now producers are somewhat becoming like as big as the artists.
Right.
They're coming out with their own albums and like, how do you feel about this new age of like producer celebrities?
I love it, but I still feel like there's still a lack of respect for us. Meaning, social media is the new platform. It's kind of what it is. It's everything pretty much. And the producer credits have become a problem. It's become an issue where producers are not properly being credited for their work. Photographers are being credited. Stylists are being credited. Videographers are being credited for their pictures, their videos. Whenever you post something, you see the little camera emoji, or the video camera emoji, or, you know. So my thing is the directors, you know, so many other people are being credited for their work, not the producer. And the problem is, the challenge is, you know, back then there were CDs, there were cassette tapes. So what I used to do is when I used to buy an album, this is before I was producing, I used to open up the CD booklet. That was my favorite thing. Before I listened to any song, I checked the credits to see who did what, who was a part, who wrote on it, who produced on it, so that going into listening to that album, I'm processing it, because some of those people are my favorite producers. Some of those people I'm inspired by. So I'm saying, okay, you know, Buck Wild did this one. Okay, D-Dot did this one. You know what I'm saying? Like Dr. Dre produced it, Swiss did that, Timbaland did that. So I'm going into it like with excitement to see what they've created on this album. So we don't have that anymore. They're still selling CDs, but this newer generation,
Yeah, you don't. I don't know where to go to look for that unless Wikipedia. But who knows if that's
you know,
that accurate.
The fan are not doing that. You're a music lover, so you have an appreciation for the creator because you are one.
Yeah.
The fan, they just want to hear the song, and if you're not giving them or
presenting
presenting to them
name on the track, you don't.
And I don't like that either.
Yeah.
Like people, why don't you tag it? I personally, no shots against it. I just don't like Amadeus or Platinum Boy in front of the joint. Like it's just not my thing. It just, to me, it takes away from the art. My personal opinion. You know, you know, people might hear that and be like, ugh.
So how do you feel about, I call them like boutique albums, when there is one artist and one producer for the entire album? Is that a new thing, or has that been happening? Because I believe it was Big Sean.
Yeah, Big Sean and Metro Boomin did it.
And
I think DJ Premier and Royce the 5'9" just did it. I like it.
Yeah.
I like it. Think about when Timbaland came out. Like Tim was doing all of those records, like Missy albums,
and it all had a same
Genuine,
feel.
Aaliyah, and, you know. So like you said, I as a producer, you have a sound, you have a style. That's why it's very important to collab with musicians, with other producers, just to bring out more ideas, because as a creative, you hear it and see it in a way. And you might not think you're, repeating the sound, but you kind of are. You have your favorite drums, you have your favorite snare, your favorite kick, that pad or that, keyboard that you like to use, or that certain piano or that certain bass line. But if I bring you in as another creator, you're like, oh, well, let's try this, because you have your favorites. So imagine a room full of producers and musicians.
Oh, that's amazing.
That's why Puff created the HitMan producers. And people would frown about it and say, yo, man, why is there so many people on? Because everybody has their area of expertise.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? You look at a Big E album, or you look at, a Craig Mack album, you may see 3 or 4 producers on the song. Stevie J and Mario Winans and D-Dot and Nasheem, and they're like, why? Because it's like somebody could have came up with this, let's sample this. Stevie could have came in and played the guitar. Mario could have came in and played loud drums or keys. Everybody has their own area. So I like the idea of it. It's pretty cool. And it's something, again, there's no rules.
Yeah. So what was your introduction into Bad Boy?
Man.
Tell me that story.
So, well, just to give you a little, history, I was the biggest Puff Daddy fan in the world.
Yeah.
Oh, yes,
He's
yes.
so fly. Him and Mace.
Yo, facts. So, in high school, they used to call me Lil Puff.
Oh, wow.
I used to have the curly hair, which I still have, the hat on. The hat on, so you see little fluffs back there. But I used to have the curly hair, I used to wear the shades. I naturally had that part in the center that he used to have. And everything that he did, I just really had a big appreciation for, from the music to, like you said, the style to the swag. And I was just like, man, I want to be just like him, man. I just want to create music just like that, and that was a dream of mine.
Yeah.
And I just kept saying it and just kind of putting it in the atmosphere and speaking it and speaking it and speaking it, and then it came true, and I became, one of the youngest Bad Boy HitMan producers. And I came around when Danny Kane and Day 26. So I was a part of that new era of Bad Boy with the General Moment.
Speaking of Danny Kane, listen, 2 songs I love listening to. Damage and Poetry.
Wow.
Oh my God, I love Danny.
Man, that was.
So you were around the Making the Band era.
Yes.
What's your most memorable moment during that time with Bad Boy?
I think just being in the presence of Puff, man, and watching him create magic. Because he was working on, I think, the Press Play album, and then after that he was working on The Last Train to Paris.
That was Last Night, that song, Last Night, and he did something with Nicole's.
Yes. I can never get, y'all know.
We know now, because something been going on Twitter.
Uh-oh.
But anyways, that's not the point. But yeah, that was an amazing album. And then Last Night, The Last Train to Paris, amazing. I feel like no one appreciated that album.
Because it was so daring, it was so creative.
It made sense though, it was
Plenty of
different.
sense. Man, but you had to experience the process.
I can only imagine.
Of being in the room where he's recording and writing. I had the opportunity to kind of be in the same room at Daddy's house, where he did a lot of recording and writing along with Dawn and Kalina, and then he recorded a lot in LA. So just being in the studio and being able to be in the room with him in that most vulnerable state. As when the artist is creating, it's very, very vulnerable.
It is.
You're recording, you're laying stuff down, you're writing stuff, you don't know if it's it, you don't know if it's not. So I remember moments of sharing with Puff of him recording lines and recording a verse and then coming out and asking me what I thought. And I'm sitting there this is Puff, Daddy.
That's amazing.
So.
But that goes back to what you were saying, not being afraid to reach out or having humility and things that you are not,
And I think and I'm glad you brought that up, because I think that's one of the things that he admired about me and my character, just being fearless, being in the room and not being afraid to say something or comment or give feedback or to ask him something or to ask about this. I remember, just to bring you back, when I first signed and us interacting for the first time. I was in the MIDI room, which is where a lot of the beats are created, and you go from either Studio B to Studio B or Studio A. Studio A being Puff's room. So I remember them knocking on the door and saying, Mr. Combs, wants you in Studio A. Now, this is our first, we'll be being a part of the HitMan team, and this and that. Came in there. He's like, you sit right there. So he's listening to something.
I was just shaking.
And I'm sitting there, but again, I was excited, I was hyped, but held it all together. And I remember sitting there, and he turned around a few times, you know, and just, you know, kind of fobbing out and just kept turning around, and then shut the music off and just turned around and was just like this. This is my camera right here, right?
Mm-hmm.
Went down, looked. Now that was him. Me in return. Now this is me. Just stood right there and was just like. This was like 2-3 minutes.
Oh, I couldn't have done that. I would have smiled. I would have said something.
I just right there, and he said, "I'm Dez, right?" Mm-hmm. All right. Right. So he's like, "I'm gonna holler at you in a second."
Mm-hmm.
So he said, "You still working on it? You in the MIDI room, right?" He said, "I'm gonna come see you in the MIDI room." I said, "All right, cool." So I'm making beats in there, right?
Mm-hmm.
Got a phone call, and she's like legendary. Her name is Francesca Sparrow, and she passed away. So rest in peace, Fran. But she ran the HitMan producers. She was in charge of Bad Boy Management and Janice Combs Publishing, which is Puff's publishing company.
Okay.
And I remember getting a phone call from her saying, "Amadeus." I was like, "Hey," she said, "This," she used to call it some mama friend. It's mama friend. I was like, "Hey." She was like, "Good job." I was like, "What?" She said, "You just passed the test." I said, "What test?" "The stand-down test." I was like,
wow.
"What?" She was like, "Yeah." Like, you didn't flinch, you didn't blink, you didn't turn away. She was like, "More people don't pass that test." And you did. Good job.
Wow.
Hang up. I hung up, and I'm like, and in that moment, you know, for the viewers, it's like, you gotta know who you are.
Yeah.
Let me look at it. You gotta know who you got. You gotta know who you are. You gotta believe in yourself. You gotta know what God gave you, and be fearless and believe in what God gave you. God gave us all something unique and special. Every single one of us. There's something that I can do that you can't. There's something that you can do that I can't. We all have something unique and special. And you just got to believe in yourself, and you got to know who you are and be fearless and walk in that blessing and walk in that calling. I make music at the end of the day. I'm there for a reason. If I didn't deserve to be there in that room, in that same building where Biggie recorded, where Faith Evans, where the 112, Craig Mack, rest in peace, like, these are legends. These are people that I grew up listening to, and I'm in the same room, on the same equipment, in the same presence of greatness. And I'm saying to myself, I belong here.
And you felt it.
And I felt it. I belong here. I'm who I am. I'm Amadeus. Amadeus means loves God. So he gave me that fearlessness, and in that room, and it was that moment where it started. And ever since then, you know, it was somebody that he called on, and he put me in making his band. Remember the show that he was putting together, the live band, The Last Train to Paris? So I was on that show as a guest judge and the music director. He put me on that. He had me scoring music for Star Maker and work for Diddy.
Oh my gosh!
Yeah.
I want to come to the music college one-on-one tour just because I just want to hear what you have to say.
And I'm so glad you said that. Each session that we do, I learn so many different things. You hear so many stories. Like I learned, I had DJ Enough on one of the panels in Brooklyn College, and I didn't even know that he was one of Biggie's first DJs. I didn't. So he's telling us stories about Biggie and like them on a drive into city to city and like shows and microphones just not working and how to make sure.
You know what you're doing? You're really preserving the culture and the education behind everything, because it's getting lost.
Yeah.
It's becoming lost, and people really don't care to know about the first DJ for Biggie. Feel about the newer artists that are successful, and they blatantly say that they don't know their history or who came before, or who they dislike. How do you feel about that?
You know, it's one thing to not know. Like that's innocent. It's innocent to not know. If you're not aware of something, or you weren't taught, or it was before your time. That's different. But it's another thing to be disrespectful. And a lot of the artists today are being disrespectful, and that's the one thing that I have a problem with. You know, music, sound, style, culture, it always changes, it always evolves, and even as a creative person, you have to be able to evolve.
Yeah.
Like I can't use the same patterns and sample the same records I was doing 10 years ago because the sound has changed. So you have to be able to evolve. So like I said, you know, just don't be disrespectful. You know, and as a musician, as an artist, as a songwriter, as a producer, you should want to know. So if you walk into a room and they say, hey, what about Tupac, or what about Biggie, and you're the younger generation and you don't know, I'd rather you say, man, you know, that was before my time. You know, I have listened to the Biggie album. You know, I have, or if you say you haven't. You know, I'm not aware of Craig Mack. I'm not aware of Biggie. Yeah, I don't know what that is. And it's up to that person that's educating them to educate them. This is who they are. This is these records. You know this record? I know you know Benjamin's.
So what do you
I
do
know you
in
know
the moment when
Hypnotized.
they're not open to listening? You just let it go?
Gotta care. I mean, it ain't your job now. It ain't
Yeah.
like, once you put it out there, once you educate, it's like a teacher, right? When we're in school and we're learning different subject matters in math and English, he or she, they're gonna teach.
Yeah.
They're gonna do your job. They're gonna do their job. There's gonna be a heckler over there. There's gonna be a class clown. There's gonna be somebody being rude and disrespectful. Their job is to teach. What you do what you do with it after is up to you. They're the teacher, they're the professor, they got their degrees, they're getting their paycheck at the end of the day. So what you take and what you learn and what you take in is on you. So if you want to be ignorant, be ignorant. For me, I've came up through the different eras. That's like me not knowing as a producer or a musician who's hot right now because of the era that I came from. What if I didn't know about Lil Yachty? What if I didn't know about Lil Uzi or Lil Xan or Tekashi 6ix9ine or
Rico Nasty.
what if I didn't know?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It's my job to know because I don't want to only work with Jay-Z. I don't want to only work with Usher or Trey or Chris Brown or Justin Bieber. Like, there's a new era, there's a new wave, there's a new sound, and a lot of the younger generation are, like, these artists that are doing great. Like I said, they're successful. They're selling millions of records. So I'm not going to be that producer that's like, well, man, if it don't sound like this, I'm not doing it. No. Let's work. Let's work. Let me challenge you to be more lyrical. Or let me challenge you to use this type of track to tell your story. Like, who are you? We got to turn up.
Yeah.
We can go to the clubs and we can pop bottles and take pictures and do that. But who are you? And I like to be that producer where artists are telling stories on my
How
music.
well can you tell the story? Because you can feel like you're telling a story, but some people they don't understand you.
And that's one thing about Biggie, man. Think about Biggie. Think about Jay-Z and Nas. I watched, my big brother D-Rock, one of Big's best friends. That's the one that that did the bid for Biggie. So if you watch Notorious, D-Rock was the one that did the bid for Biggie, and he did an interview on a platform, and he spoke about it. He was like, the new generation, it ain't gonna sound. The new music is not gonna sound like what Biggie and Jay-Z and Nas sound like. And he gave such an amazing point. He said, you know why? Because they didn't go through what they went through. The stories have changed. The dynamics have changed. The environment has changed. Like, they were telling their stories. And the artists of today are telling their stories from how they see it. And it's a different era. It's a different walk of life. He was like, they was on a corner back then.
Yeah.
Now, unfortunately, we got to talk about it. Now it's pills. Now it's all these other things. They weren't doing pills back then. Like, they were doing.
The newer artists, they feel like they're not affected by the older artists, but they are because they have the examples of how their life was, and the parents chose to raise their children totally different, so they don't even know that they have been affected by the music. They just feel like it's all brand new.
Look, let's check this out. And I always say this all the time. Everything we're doing has been done before, in some form or another. Whether it's a bass line, whether it's a drum pattern, whether it's a snare drum, whether it's your chords. Like, music has been around for decades. Somebody somewhere did it. You just approached it in your own way, but you're not creating anything new. Now this can be a nice little argument. This could be a back and forth thing. Like, somebody somewhere had a breakbeat. We got trap music, right? Trap music is 808 and fast hi-hats. I can go back into some James Brown albums and put up where you have fast hi-hats and different things, and Isaac Hayes and James Porter, you know what I'm saying? So it's like we're all reciprocating, we're all borrowing, we're all just reviving what's already been done.
Samples that you were talking about.
Oh man!
You said you did use the Marvin Gaye sample from your father's collection.
Yeah, and so
this has been so informative. I had so many more questions, but I feel like our conversation.
Let's do a part two.
We will do a part two because I know I'm gonna have more specific questions from different people, and I'm gonna direct them all your way.
Let's do it.
So again, tell everybody where they can find you on social media and all your blurb about music college, music 101 college.
Absolutely. Well, first off, thank you for having me. I had a great time. Again, my name is Amadeus, CEO of Platinum Boy Music Inc. I'm on all social media platforms. Amadeus PBM on IG, Platinum Boy Music on IG, and Music 101 College Tour PBM on IG. Also on Twitter, producer Amadeus. Website, www.platinumboymusicworldwide.com. And that's pretty much, where you'll find me, man. I'm always online. I do my best to show love and comment and
yes, follow
and,
because
follow,
you need
man.
to go to this music tour.
Oh yeah, you definitely.
Music 101.
And each and every day, I've made it my business to post 3 inspirational posts per morning. So a lot of people come to my IG just for inspiration or motivation for the day. And just to tell that story real quickly, I was on the way to Africa to do a show with Trey Songz.
Yeah.
And we had some fans and some Trey Angels that showed up to the airport.
Trey Angels.
Yeah.
All right.
And they was like, you didn't post today. And I was like, yeah, I didn't get a chance to because I didn't want to miss the flight to Africa. You missed the flight to Africa, you're right.
Yeah.
So I didn't get a chance to. And then two of the young queens was like, I really go to your page like every day for inspiration and motivation, and your posts get me through my day. And it was like that moment where a light bulb went off, and I was like, man, I feel like that's my calling. So ever since then, it's been a few years, since that moment, and I make it my business to make sure.
You're the third person I've heard say something like that. And you
Really?
know who the second person I heard it from? Ishmael.
Yes.
He said it on his Insta
Yes, he
story
does the same.
that it could be 1 or 2 people, but it's worth it to keep going.
Yes.
That's amazing.
You want to, in a world full of darkness, you know what I'm saying,
Gotta
and negativity, man. It's like why not be a light? Like you said, even if it's for one person. And I feel like my role here is bigger than music. Like music was the platform. Music was what I needed to get to where I am today. And now use this platform to say, yo, man, you're looking at me and you're looking at me as this great individual. Oh, that's cool, but like, God created me. Like God made me who I am. God gave me this gift, and I'm just using this platform and social media and people that are listening to just encourage somebody, man. Just push somebody, man. Like we got a lot of no's. Still get a lot of no's still to this day, and people are like, how you produce for all the people? There's always someone that wants to keep the door closed in front of you. There's always someone that's hating. There's always someone that sees something special in you that don't want to act like they don't, because they haven't found their niche, or they haven't found their calling, or they haven't found their light. So that word intimidation comes into play, and it's like, man, I haven't gotten there yet, so I'm not gonna open up the door for you to get there. So for those people, man, you gotta kick that joint down. You gotta kick that joint down. Anybody can stop you from being great.
Go follow him.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be looking
This
on
every
your page
day.
now for
Oh,
inspiration
yeah, this every day.
to keep it going.
Just every day.
And make sure you are subscribed to the
Yes.
channel. I hope you guys enjoyed this conversation. I know it's going to help somebody out
Yes.
there. And until next week, thank you all so much for watching.